we'll start off with Jerry McDonald.
Hey, Kirby, Jerry McDonald from the Bay Area News Group.
Hey, how you doing?
Wonder if you could address a couple things. One, given your experience and the well-documented success you've had with some real special backs in this league, what characteristics and traits does Josh Jacobs have that can put him in that realm? And two, how big is it that Devontae Booker is sort of emerged as a guy that can sort of take a little bit of the load off of him?
That's a great question. All along, Josh has always exhibited an ability, natural instincts to be a runner, change of directions, and great vision. And he really works hard. He's got great football smarts. So when you put those combinations together, it kind of lets you think that he's going to be successful, he's going to have a good career, and he's going to get better really, really fast because of those characteristics I just mentioned. As for Devontae Booker, we knew all along that we got a player who complemented our room extremely well, that he was a three-phase player, a runner, pass protector, and a pass receiver. We just had to figure out a way, how do we implement him at the same time by keeping our best football player getting most of the work. And it took me as the position coach a few weeks to figure that out, quite frankly, to be honest. I had the conversation with Booker, and I told him, hey, I got to do a better job based off of what Coach Gruden and I talked about, of getting you more involved in the offense. And so we think we're on a really good pace right now to do that moving forward. It just took a little while to figure it out as the position coach.
Hey, Kirby, Paul Gutierrez here from ESPN. When you talk to Josh, and Josh actually says that Marcus Allen has been kind of a mentor to him since he's come in the NFL, especially with this team. What does that look like, and how does that kind of show itself up in the field and on the game film?
Well, the conversation, and I know a little bit what was said in exchange between the two as they talk, and Marcus is really spending a lot of time with him, just mentally preparing him on how to read defenses, understanding the front, having that recognition and pre-snap. And then obviously the post-snap, you've got your read and key, and it goes from there. But they've got a great dialogue going now. I know Josh is extremely happy that they're communicating, and I think it's going to only improve him as we move forward.
Hi, Coach. You said it took a while to really see what Devontae Booker brought to the table. What would you say? When would you say that happened? That it kind of clicked for you and for him? And how much did his performance in the game last week have to do with that?
Well, coming in when we signed him this off season or this summer, we knew what he had been doing in Denver. We evaluated his film from Denver, all of his touches, and obviously I had a past previous relationship of just studying him coming out of college. So we knew what he was capable of. He just had a couple of lean years, the last couple in Denver, where he didn't get the opportunities. So we knew it was a work in progress, and once we got him up to speed with our offense and the way we do things here, that he would have an impact. And I think as the season progresses, more and more his talents and his abilities will flourish behind what we feel is like one of the best offensive lines in football.
Hey, Kirby, this is Vic. As a running back coach, how much pride do you and your room take in finishing a game like you guys did on Sunday?
That's always your ultimate goal, is to end the ball game in victory formation, and it's something that players love closing out. During the timeout there in the fourth quarter, Devontae and Jalen Richard went out to Josh in the middle of the field and told him, it's time, take us home. You got to take us home now. It's your ball, and that's what he did. And I know Alec takes great pride in being in there and being the lead blocker for Josh. Josh takes great pride in using his fullback because, quite frankly, a lot of running backs don't know how to run behind the fullback, and that's not the case here in Las Vegas. So we're grateful to have both of those two young men, and the best is yet to come for those two.
We'll do two more. Jerry, then Paul.
Yeah, Kirby, how would you assess Alec Ingold's jump in year 1 to year 2? I mean, he, undrafted rookie, did some really good things for you last year. He looks almost a little leaner and even more athletic this year. I'm just curious as to your take on what you're seeing from him.
Well, the God-given ability and athletic ability that you just spoke on, it's always been there. For Alec, it's just about year 2, doing the same things over and over and over, meaning repetition, fundamentally in his run blocking progression, understanding the passing game a lot more, Usually year 2 is the biggest jump that all really good runners and fullbacks take that next leap, and he's no exception. He has really done a nice job of coming on in a year 2, and it shows up a lot.
Hey, Kirby, it's Paul again. I don't know if surprise is the right word when it comes to talking about Josh, but given that he was never truly a feature back in college, how surprised are you to see him just really excelling in that role in the NFL?
Well, again, it's another great question, but for those kind of guys, it just takes opportunities, and he's getting those opportunities now. He had an entire offseason to work on his passing game by himself, understanding what we needed from him, and then once football restarted, he was in the receivers room asking a bunch of questions with the wideouts, talking to Edgar Bennett about when you're detached on splits and how to read coverages when you are detached and out of the backfield. And then we've always worked on those aspects when he's behind the line of scrimmage. So it's opportunity, it's him understanding his role, and he's making the most of it right now.
Great. Thank you, Coach. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Cool. Give me a second to start raising my hands here. All right, guys, we got Frank Smith. Go ahead and raise your hands and we'll get you in. See, when they're unmuted, the yellow box goes to where they're unmuted. That's who's asking the question.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Frank, Jerry McDonald from the Bay Area News Group. I'm curious in that, have you found at all that during all this, the COVID-19 restrictions and all the things you guys have had to do to coach differently, are there things that you're going to be able to take out of this experience and apply in the future that will make you a better coach when things are relatively back to normal?
Yeah, actually, that's a great point. I think due to the lack of proximity, having the less amount of time with them on the field in the off season, training camp, there was more of a build-up than we'd normally have, where you'd show up and you kind of have a couple days and then you go to work. I think it forces you to be more clear, be more specific, transfer information in a more clear way. Because when you're sitting at home on your in your office, or I was in the guest bedroom and you're doing meetings, you're just sitting there going, okay, how do we transfer this information without doing it? Okay, so you got to show the examples and also realize that you're communicating your information without doing. So I just found that from this whole thing, it'd be coaching points, stuff that I had to simplify to get the message across, a little bit of things I carry forward through all this.
Frank, this is Vic. With Henry Ruggs back, did you see a big difference in how the defense treated Darren Waller on Sunday? And what do you think about his role going forward as far as having more space to operate?
I just think the Chiefs in general vary up coverages. I mean, they give you some base stuff they do, but then there's also a little bit of a change of what they want to do, kind of a Rolodex of different things they want to accomplish. So as far as them, I would say that we probably got maybe some more of the secondary coverages that we had seen, but overall it looked like having basically get the whole skill back to where it was is going to be good in the future, because whenever you're able to put explosive plays in the passing game together like we did, it's only going to help just the overall function of the running game, okay, and then 2, the passing game, because next thing you know, they start backing up a little bit more because they're afraid of getting beat over the top.
Coach, what kind of relationship have you seen between Darren and Jason, and what can they kind of maybe learn from each other?
Well, the great thing that Darren is able to, really extract from Jason is experience, vision, handling of situations. It's been a great sounding board for him, because in our morning meetings, we're able to really talk through a lot of stuff, and things that Darren's doing, Jason may have been doing earlier in his career, or just a situation that maybe arises, or like something as simple as recovery and player load. All those things have been really beneficial for Darren, because, Jason's been doing it at such a high level for a long time. He's able to give that whole overall experience, and due to the nature of the COVID situation, that relationship would have started back in April building, as opposed to all of a sudden, end of July, beginning of August. That's when you're really getting to work with him every day. So I think it's been beneficial for not only Darren but for the whole group to have his experience in the room.
Yeah, Frank, I'm curious about what you think about the development of Foster Moreau year 1 to year 2. With Jason's arrival, his snap count is going to go down a little bit, but are you still seeing him progress as a player? I mean, you look at him and you could easily see him being a starter somewhere else, possibly.
Sure, and due to the nature of the end of Foster's rookie season, I mean, he had such production, and really feel nothing's changed. However, coming off of the major injury, and then with coaches, really, like he's said numerous times, he wants having a versatile tight end room allows us to do what we want to do. So ability to acquire Jason, one, brings another guy with a Y build mindset along with his experience. I mean, whether one game Foster's playing a little bit more, another game maybe it goes the other way, it's that I don't really think it'll hold back from his development or growth, as long as we stick to the cause of every day. If your everyday goal is personal development, personal being the best you can, whether you play 15 plays one game or 25 or it's like you stay with your individual approach. This is what we're doing with him. I think overall who you have is Darren in the room and Jason in the room. I think it's going to really bring out his best here in the future.
One more question, Paul.
Hey, Frank, Paul Gutierrez here from ESPN. Jason's obviously already done the TV thing. He's probably going to the Hall of Fame. Do you see a coaching coaching position in his future at some point?
Absolutely. His knowledge of the game, his ability to transfer information, and then my favorite thing about him is his intensity and his commitment to detail, to everything. There's a reason why. I mean, it's like whether he's playing a snap of football or he's playing hopscotch, he's trying to beat you, and it's just one of those things with him. That intensity is really something I enjoy because, I mean, it's one of those guys who sees everything all the time. So if he wanted to go into coaching, I see a guy who could be a tremendous coach, leader of men, just everything. I mean, there's really no things with him that I'd say whatever he puts his mind to, he's going to go and try and achieve to the highest level.
Great. Thank you, Frank. Thanks, everyone. Great job.
Got it here.
Okay, guys, we've got Jim O'Neill. Let's get some hands up for questions.
What's up, guys? Happy bye week.
Yeah, Jim, Jerry McDonald from the Bay Area News Group. In the first, we saw early in the season, we saw Damon Arnett playing with a bad thumb, and then he re-injured it, and he had to go out. We've seen, Abram hit a standard for cameras on the side and then come back in. We've seen, I think, both Joyner and Mullen went down the last game and came back in. I guess I just question is just the resiliency and that sort of the toughness of that whole group. Has that been something that's been impressive to you from the outset?
Yeah, I think that's been kind of our vision the past 3 years as we've built this thing. We look for tough guys that love to play. And, some of those guys, you're going to have to put them in straitjackets to keep them out of the game. But they all want to be out there. They're all super competitive. And we appreciate it. Anytime a guy puts his body on the line, if he's nicked up or he's injured, and he goes out there and finishes and tries the plays, I think it's impressive.
Hey, Jim, this is Vic. What have you seen so far from Isaiah Johnson at safety, and how important is versatility to you as a DB coach?
Well, versatility is huge. I tell all the guys, if you're not the bona fide number one safety or the bona fide number one corner or the bona fide number one nickel, you better have some versatility if you want to stay around in this league. So Isaiah's done a nice job. We worked him some inside during training camp. And then as we get going and we face some of these really good pass-catching tight ends, he's a big body with length that can challenge guys at level one, and he helps us in some of the man coverage stuff. But I've loved how he's been able to mentally handle the corner position and some of the jobs out at the safety position.
Hey, Coach Scott Gilbranson with Raider Nation Radio. When we talked to you back in the summer, we talked about Trayvon Mullen and his development, and you told us some specifics about what you wanted to see as you entered the season. And some of that was around consistency and continued development. Have you seen that from him, and where is he now compared to where he was as you ended last season?
I think he's taken a big jump, and I think it started with the mindset that he came into training camp with. I think he put on some good weight. I think he really increased his lower body strength, and I just think the game slowed down for him a little bit. And instead of going to the line and just playing, he's going to the line with a plan, and he's executing his plan. And you could see the confidence, and I only think he's going to get better. I thought that, some of these guys were a little behind going into year 2 because you missed the offseason. Everybody talks about the big jump that guys should make in year 2. Well, when you miss 500 snaps throughout the course of the spring, and then you're dealt with what training camp was, you wonder as a coach, is it going to affect their development or their growth? But Trayvon's been outstanding in his second year, and I think it's only going to get better. I really do.
Yeah, Jim, the ability to sort of pressure Mahomes was pretty dramatic in terms of the pass rush from the first 3 or 4 games, and obviously now we're seeing a lot of pass breakups as a result. Is that just the sort of the standard Russian coverage going hand in hand? And with that kind of pass rush, how good can you be in the back end?
Yeah, I think it definitely goes hand in hand. I mean, I think we simplified some stuff for the guys, and allowed them to play a little bit faster, and I think that helped up front, and I think it helped us in the back end. But if the rush can save us a click, it helps us. If we can buy them a click, it helps them. So yeah, when the rush and the coverage is working together, like it was this past Sunday in Kansas City, it's good for everybody. So it was good to see, and then I'm hoping we can keep rolling with that moving forward.
Hi, Jim. Levi Damian from USA Today. Obviously, when Robertson came in a couple of weeks ago and this first snap, giving up the touchdown pass and everything, that's obviously a kind of a rough way to get things started. But what have you seen from his development, and how did he respond to that first play, since then?
Right. Well, I think, my 2 assistants, Taver Johnson and Duke DeRay, have done a great job coaching the backup players and having those guys ready to play. As you know, we've had to call on a lot of those guys to come in and play big roles at different points in different games this year, whether it's Keyshawn Nixon, Isaiah Johnson, Amik Robertson. I thought he did a really good job in there. I think that nickel's probably the hardest position in our defense because you're so involved in the run fits, and you got the hardest job in coverage because a receiver has a 3-way go on you when you're in man. But Amik went in there, and I think it's good early in guys' careers to get them a little, get them out, kind of let them reflect on it, get them a little bit more, get them out. We had Amik involved in some of our third down packages the first few weeks of the season, and I only think his role in our defense is going to grow as he gets more comfortable in the scheme. But I was excited about what he did. I thought he was a little fast at times to get out of his pedal, which I talked to him about. But it's one thing to tell a guy that over and over again in meetings. It's another thing to watch yourself on video and actually see it. But we should be excited about him in the future.
Hey, Jim, Paul Gutierrez here from ESPN. Speaking of another one of your so-called rookies, Jonathan Abram. I mean, he only played the 1 game last year. Is as advertised in terms of being kind of a spiritual leader back there for the secondary, but also how fine is that line between him being a heat-seeking missile, but also kind of peeling back at times to, not only keep himself safe, but to not light his teammates up with some friendly fire?
No, I'll answer your first question. He's better than as advertised. I love him, and he's exactly what this team needed. He's exactly what this defense needed. We wanted an alpha dog in the back end that was going to make the middle of the field a scary place and fly around and be a relentless player. Okay, now with that being said, everybody uses the cliche, all gas, no brakes. Okay, I think that John is one of those players who is truly all gas, no brakes. Now, in my experience in this league, it's a lot easier to slow guys down than it is to speed them up. And I think as John plays more and more and more, he's going to understand those situations where he can take his shot, or when he's got to come under control and just secure a good tackle, or come under control and keep leveraging coverage. But for him, being only 6 games into his NFL career, I know skill players on the other side of the line of scrimmage, they're finding him pre-snap because they want to know where he is.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jim. Thanks,
All right,
everyone.
thanks, guys.